Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing my comic load for this week. Yes, today is Wednesday, my favorite day of the week. Why? Because comic books come out this day, and I also get to do karate today, and I get a day off from work, so it all is nice. It's a good day. One small note is, I think The Shade came out today, and I forgot to pick it up. So if I forgot to pick it up, no worries. I will talk about it in my next Andrew Cutter Pick of the Week video. But yes, comic books for today. This week is actually my smallest week, which is 7 comics, which for most people isn't a small week, but because I am who I am, it's a small week for me. So let's get into it. No more dilly-daddling. Let's actually talk about what I picked up. Start things off with Batman and Robin issue number 8. This is the end to the first story arc. In the previous issue, nobody was killed by Damian. Sorry, spoiler alerts for anyone that didn't read it. Should have probably said spoiler alerts before I actually said the spoilers, shouldn't I? Anyways, it's kind of a double-edged sword because on one hand, it serves the story so perfectly well, but on the other hand, I felt as though nobody had a great amount of potential to becoming a great villain. But the story was really nicely done in this. This is Bruce and Damian dealing with the fallout of him killing nobody and why he did it, and the two kind of come to terms with their relationships. They kind of spell it out that they love each other. They just don't understand each other, and it's going to be a big process of them understanding each other. Bruce is starting to act more and more like a father, and Damian is starting to act more like a son. A little bit more. Great ending. It ended exactly the way it should have. This story arc was a very nicely done story arc, and I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. This was a really good issue, and it wrapped everything up the way it should have wrapped up. I said this before, and I'll say this again. I talked about. I don't want to talk too much about this, but Batman and Robin started off kind of on the lower totem pole for the Batman comics, and now it's up there as one of the best of the Batman comics. Over the past 8 issues, we've had a really good story arc, really good. So 5 out of 5, definitely worth picking up. Batgirl, issue number 8. Batgirl's facing off against Grotesque again, and one of his henchmen happened to be one of the men that was present the day that Barbara Gordon got shot. So Batgirl has to not only deal with the resurgence of this henchman and how it affects her life, but also Grotesque, and also she has to deal with her mother trying to reconcile with her. Goods about this, I felt as though the angle with her mother was very nicely done. The reasoning why her mother came back was pretty interesting. I'm curious to see how things play out with this. It's pretty evident by now that Barbara wasn't adopted, that she's legitimately Commissioner Gordon's blood daughter. We also get a return of what I think will quite possibly be Batgirl's biggest adversary, period. So, good ending. Bad, I felt as though Grotesque was grotesquely underused. No pun intended. Actually, pun totally intended. But I felt as though he had pretty good potential on being a bad guy, and he kind of gets, I don't know, if he shows up again, it won't be for a while. And I felt as though the henchman thing was good, but it didn't really blow me away. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad, but it just didn't blow me away. On the whole, I give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. An improvement over last issue. What I think Batgirl really needs to do as a title is get solid villains. Solid adversaries for her to fight. Not these Monster of the Week stuff that we've been getting. But besides that, Gail Simone's writing has been solid. Yeah, pick it up. 3.5 out of 5 stars. On to Batwoman issue number 8. And ironically, as far as I know, and I could be wrong, so please correct me if I am wrong, but Batwoman is the only Batman title that's not crossing over with the Night of the Owls. Even All-Star Western is crossing over with Night of the Owls. So, unless I'm wrong, am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Batwoman issue number 8. We are continuing the story arc that's been going on for the past 2 issues, where it seems like everyone's story is being told. Kate's story, 5 days ago. Blah 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 story, 6 days ago. Blah 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 stories, 2 days ago. yeah, we get a little bit more on this evil group that Batwoman has been going up against, and we get to see a little bit more how the structure of the story is all coming together. We also get the introduction of, I don't know if you can call her an ally, but I guess a new teammate for Batwoman. Good. I thought as though the Betty Kane stuff, while she's still unconscious, is turning out to be, I think, one of the better characters of the series. I do like how Batgirl's character is dealing with all the stuff that's going on in her life. I think she's very in character and a very likable character at that. Bad. I felt as though the structuring of this comic is, like the last issues, a little too all over the place. I still don't get a full sense of the story. I mean, I know what's going on, but I'm not feeling it. It feels very much like the last issue of Final Crisis, if anyone remembers reading that. It just feels very all over the place, like I'm flipping through the channels on a TV. On a whole, though, and the art was different, not bad. I'm just saying it's different. On a whole, I'll give this a solid 3 out of 5. It was a good issue. Again, I'm not feeling the story, I'm not feeling the villains, but I am liking the characters and I'm liking the characterizations of the characters. There you go. So, 3 out of 5. Deathstroke, issue number 8. And let me just say, this drawing right here is, I think, so far, the best interpretation of Deathstroke's new armor. I do like that drawing. You know what it is? It's the shoulder pads, and the shoulder pads normally just look a little too blocky. So, yes, Deathstroke, issue number 8. Sorry, I got a text. Issue number 8. This is kind of a standalone issue. It's dealing with father issues. Again, no pun intended with the issue thing. Deathstroke, we get to see a look of who his father is and what his father is about and how it affects Deathstroke's life. And we get to learn a little bit more about Deathstroke's character, which we come to a very nice conclusion on why Deathstroke does what he does. One thing that's always gone through my mind is Deathstroke has had a failed family, children that hate him, a wife that doesn't want anything to do with him. No one in his life that loves him. I mean, why does he do what he does? And not to spoil anything, but at one point in the story he says, the reason why I do what I do is not because I don't have anything else. It's because this is the only thing that makes me happy. So I do like how that explanation came out. Good. I felt as though it was a nice look into Deathstroke's past. I thought the ending was very nicely tied up with his father. And I felt as though Deathstroke was pretty badass in this. There's one point, and I don't want to give it away, where he has there's one point where he tracks down, he does like a pro bono case, or a very cheap case, and he does it, and how he deals with the individual and how he deals with the individual's son afterwards, just really Deathstroke badass. Sad, but Deathstroke badass. Bad. I don't know if there's anything bad about this, but there's nothing fantastic. It was a good issue. Maybe it was the action was pretty good too. Looking back on it, this issue was actually, in retrospect, this issue was probably better than I thought. So I'm going to give this issue a 3.5 out of 5. Fun issue, good issue. I think the only bad that comes from it, if I could list one, it's the fact that it doesn't really connect to anything else. It has little references to the past, but it really is not going to be foreshadowing the future. I think after this, Rob Liefeld is jumping on as artist and writer, and Deathstroke's going to be fighting Lobo. We'll see where that goes. Okay, on to Demon Knights issue number 8, and we finally get a chance for the Demon Knights to sit down and talk. Madame Xandu talks about her history with Jason Blood and how they kind of met each other and grown to fall in love with each other. And we get a perspective of the story, and it fills in a lot of the gaps in the reasoning of what happened when it did in the first issue with Madame Xandu and Jason Blood. Good dialogue, good story, and a really good twist at the end with Etrigan, and just how things are painted out. I mean, we're going to get a story, but how much of the story is true? Who's telling the truth, Etrigan or Madame Xandu? Very nice story, very good ending to it. On a whole, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. I know that's a bit generous, some people may think, but I think this was a very good issue for what it was. We get to dig deeper into what makes Madame Xandu, and we get to dig in a bit deeper on what makes Jason Blood, but more Madame Xandu than Jason Blood. Good issue, really enjoyable, no bad about this issue, 5 out of 5. Really fun. Moving on to Superboy issue number 8, Prelude to the Culling. Now the Culling is going to cross over with Superboy, Teen Titans, and the Legion of Superheroes. I'm not going to be picking up Legion of Superheroes to do the crossover, although I'll still be picking up Teen Titans and Superboy, so I'm probably going to be lost during the crossover. It happens. I just don't care for Legion of Superheroes. I know they have a big following, a lot of people love them. I'm not a fan. So anyways, all this will bring the Ravager title out. We get to see Superboy versus Grudge, who's an interesting fellow. Grudge's powers kind of, and I can't believe I'm making this reference, Grudge's powers reminds me of Kevin from the Ben 10 TV show. I watched like 3 episodes of it, and his friend can touch any surface or any material and take that surface and make it his own. Kind of similar to the pink SPD Ranger. So, interesting power he has. Superboy goes into a fight with him. Pretty good fight. The good is the fight was good. I like the setup for the Ravagers, and I felt as though the art was actually pretty decent in this issue. Bad, I was like a little like this, because in Teen Titans issue number 7, they said that issue number 8 we would have of Superboy, we would have the fight between Ravager and Supergirl. Not Supergirl, Wonder Girl, but we didn't. The story felt very disjointed and like it belonged at a different point in time and blah blah blah. Second bad is 2 members of the Ravagers show up, Terra and Beast Boy. Why is Beast Boy orange? I'm serious. Why is he orange? Beast Boy is not supposed to be orange. And oh my god, it's just not whatever. On the whole, this issue was better than the previous issue, but not too much better. 2.75 out of 5. Pretty decent issue, just for the fact that the fight was pretty fun. But some of the bads, I mean, the structuring of the story is really what's hurting it. And rounding out this week is Green Lantern issue number 8, The Indigo Tribes, or Secret of the Indigo Tribes, Part 2. So we're on the Indigo's home world, kind of. I don't know if it's really a planet, but Hal Jordan and Sinestro are in prison. The Indigo want to make Sinestro one of their people, if not their leader. And Sinestro won't have any of that. And in the epicness that is Sinestro, he beats the living hell out of one of the Indigo tribe members. Because he goes, "I am not one of your prisoners. I am Sinestro." And he's just throwing them around, like, no ring, just beating them up. Good Hal Jordan moments with how he charges his ring up. He charges his ring up. He does it in a very clever way. And leaves off on a pretty good cliffhanger. Again, you know, it's typical Jeff Johns, good writing, good characterization, some fun moments. I felt as though there was a little bit more to this issue than the previous issue. And we're getting a lot of build-up in this, too. Whether or not that build-up pays off, we'll see at the end. But on the whole, I'll give this a 4 out of 5. This was a good issue, and I did enjoy it. So those were the comics, my comics for this week. I will see if I had. I'm pretty sure Shade came out this week. If it did, I'm sorry. I'll talk about it briefly, and Andrew kind of pick of the weeks. But yeah, on the whole, that was the week. 7 issues, not a lot, but still. Interesting, good issues, as you can see from the scores that I gave. So I'm going to end this video here. What are your thoughts? I would like to hear. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.